A therapist has said to you that you will never forget. Unspoken expectations of others are just future resentments. Edit, because this is getting so many votes and so many questions. Also, so happy that me packing my brain with little quotes like this to help me and my friends is now being passed on to so many other people that need to hear it. This quote is not suggesting that you stop expecting things from others. It just means that if you do have expectations of others, it's your responsibility to make the other person aware of them. For example, if you expect your husband to clean the dishes after you've cooked dinner, but you never voice those expectations to him, then eventually you will resent him for not doing it. People need to be taught how we would like them to be our friends. Then it's up to them if they want to do those things or not. There comes a time when you have to transition from being your son's manager to his consultant. When you stop making yourself small, some people will no longer fit in your life. The urge to binge lasts 7 minutes. I struggled with binge eating disorder for 20 years and finally sought help last January. I would get the urge to binge around the same time every night, around 9:30. I bought a little Sudoku book from the dollar store and played for 10 minutes every time I got the urge to binge. Obviously, it took a lot more than that statement for me to begin my recovery, and those 7 minutes were absolutely grueling for the first few months. But I can proudly say I've been binge-free since February 1st, 2023. You're a people pleaser, and aren't you a people? So when is it your turn? She asked if there was anything I wanted to do in my life that I no longer thought I could do. I told her that I wanted to go to law school, but that was no longer in the cards for me. She said, "You know that you can still go to law school, right? No one has to give you permission. I'll be graduating with my JD in May of next year." I doubt she understood the true impact of her simple statement that day. That child that was never loved or acknowledged is still waiting, not on your parents, but on you. You are her parent now. Will you ignore her, not love her, not value her, and not find her worthy as well? You decide if she thrives or survives. Your parents let her down. Will you do the same? Notice the feelings, like leaves on a river. Call them what they are, then let them go. Let them float down the river past you. Don't judge yourself for having them, and don't engage with them. Simply acknowledge them, let them go, and move on. I remember these words vividly because it's a coping strategy I use almost every day. Depression doesn't have to be sadness or the lack of happiness. It could come in the form of unresolved anger. Made me reframe a lot of what I was trying to fix. You've brought up how Chipotle sending you just a bowl of beans in a DoorDash order has affected you 9 times in your last 25 visits. I believe you may be autistic. Spoiler, I'm autistic. Just because someone is trying their best, that doesn't mean it's okay. For context, we were discussing a family member who just sucks at communicating. He often just ignores me, makes no attempts to get to know me as I am now, is generally just not a great family member. He's trying his best, but it's not good enough. I don't have to act like it is. If you were my client, while you were a minor, I would have absolutely called child services. What? Why? They weren't perfect, but it's not like they were abusing me. Therapist, after a brief pause. Not all abuse leaves bruises that others can see. Maybe the reason it's so hard to believe your significant other loves you is because it's the first time in your life you've ever experienced unconditional love. I had talked recently about my inability to find a partner because I'm looking for XYZ and not a lot of women fit what I'm looking for. She paused for a minute and asked me, "Well, what kind of partner do you want to be?" Blew my mind, completely changed my approach to dating. I was asked something similar when I was much younger that really flipped the script. I was told to imagine my perfect girl, not just what she looked like, but her sense of humor, her ambitions, her hobbies, her priorities and values. Then I was asked, what kind of man is that girl looking for? And it floored me, realizing how short I fell of that mark. Before I can yearn for my dream girl, I have to put in the work to be the kind of guy she'd deserve. When you get married, realize that you're marrying multiple people. Who you are And who your spouse is today isn't going to be who they are 10 to 15 years from now. Changed the way I view a lot of discussions with my partner ever since. When I told her about being sexually abused as a 4-year-old, I said, "We got caught." And she stopped me and said, "He got caught." One single letter changed the sentence in my life. Not my therapist, but my psychiatrist. There's nothing I can prescribe you to make your job not suck. Also, I got my first 1-star review recently, and I thought of you. For me, it was a time I was talking about how self-conscious I was when dating and what that other person thought of me. She told me, "You're so focused on whether that person would like you that you don't even realize if you even like them back." That works for job interviews as well. It helped me lose my nervousness during interviews, for sure. I remember applying for a job for which I was grossly underqualified, knowing full well I wasn't going to get it. At the interview, I was confident because this was going to be my chance to learn without any possibility of getting the job. Nerves were non-existent. In addition, I reminded myself that the interviewer was also being interviewed. I might not like them either. Did I believe I could do the job? Yep. Did I think they'd trust that I could do the job? Nope. Their first question: according to your resume, you never graduated from college, yet you applied for a job that preferred a master's in CPA. Why did you feel you should apply for this job? My answer: there are those that seek pedigrees for dogs because they want to be assured they are getting the best dog ever. Yet the best dog I ever had was a stray mutt whose only reason for being with me was geography. I'm your mutt. I got the job, and I held it for 6 years until they were bought out. The path the nerves laid out for the original pain are well-worn highways now. The most minor stimulation in the area will send a small message down this huge highway and make you think it hurts more than it does. You can train your brain to realize this is happening and practice your mind into believing the pain isn't as bad as it is. Because it really isn't. I was telling my psychiatrist about my worries and fears that kept me up at night for the past several years. When did these thoughts begin? Probably for the past 15 years. And in 15 years of sleepless nights, how many of these things have actually occurred and you had to take care of them? Not a single one. Then why not wait to deal with it when it actually happens? The simplicity of that statement was almost childish, but it really made me realize that I was worrying for no reason, and I was able to stop that behavior.